You held a camel hairbrush and a palette full of gold, creating a landscape that was wondrous to behold. You brushed away the blemishes, the anger and the grease, replacing all our arguments with images of peace. I stood behind your easel in the chilly basement flat, admiring how you hid the stains upon the welcome mat. We manufactured happiness with pigment and with oil to cover up the toxicity inside our native soil. The canvas was a barrier against the outside storm, where we pretended everything was cozy, safe and warm. You drew a perfect family beside a roaring fire, concealing all the boundaries of your unfulfilled desire. But varnish cannot stabilize a structural decay, and turpentine will dissolve the finest display. The portrait started cracking when the humidity arose, exposing all the misery under your graceful pose. Pigment is peeling from the fabric of our trust, and all your golden highlights are transforming into rust. We spend our energy on making the illusions look so bright, instead of fixing problems in the middle of the night. We are staring at these painted lies, hanging on the frame, hiding all the ugliness that we refuse to name. Found your old sketchbooks in a wooden storage chest, containing all the charcoal drawings you had suppressed. The raw sketches revealed a very different state of mind, a darker narrative that you had purposefully aligned. There were no happy meadows or a shining sunny beach, just desperate figures reaching out for things beyond their reach. I realized then that honesty was something you eschewed, preferring a depiction that was elegantly glued. Around the gallery of our departed years, and notice how the watercolor matches with my tears. The exhibition is closed now, but the inventory stays, a catalog of falsity that occupied our days. You were a clever artist, but you couldn't paint a heart that stayed together when the reality tore it apart. The frame is splintering under the atmospheric weight, a tragic exhibition of our artificial fate. The pigment is peeling from the fabric of our trust, and all your golden highlights are transforming into rust. We spend our energy on making the illusions look so bright, instead of fixing problems in the middle of the night. We are staring at these painted lies, hanging on the frame, hiding all the ugliness that we refuse to name. The colors are bleeding and the perspective is wrong. We lived inside an artwork that didn't belong. Yeah, the masterpiece is ruined, and the illusion is patrons have all fled. We are just two models whose relationship is dead. Throw away the brushes, spill the solvent on the floor, because we are not posing for each other anymore. Strip the paint, see the scar, who we are. We are staring at these painted lies, hanging on the frame, illusion is gone, fading shades. Beauty fades, blank. The television screen is displaying the snowy white glare, while I am sitting frozen in the leather rocking chair. The broadcasting station went off the air at 3, leaving a frequency of pure white noise for me to see. I remember when our future was a high-definition view, vibrant and crystal clear when I was standing next to you. But the signal grew corrupted as the distance grew too wide, and the transmission failed from the emotional inside. I tried to tune the antenna to capture your frequency, but the feedback loop was brutal and it blinded me to see. The cathode ray tube is buzzing with a low electricity hum, a technological desert that has made my fingers numb. We used to share a vision of a cottage by the stream, but that imagery has dissolved into a highly static dream, a scrambled manifestation of a hope we couldn't save, buried underneath the mountain of a broken wireless wave. The reception is poor and the satellites are down. There is no communication traveling across this town. We are trying to connect through a rusted copper wire, but the voltage is insufficient to ignite the inner fire. We are trapped in static dreams, waking up to white noise, losing all the innocence of our youthful boys and joys. The channel is scrambled and the screen is getting gray, washing all the clarity of our old life away. Yeah, the signal is dead, just like the love we fed. I found an old cassette tape underneath the car seat floor, containing all the melodies that we don't hum anymore. The magnetic ribbon is tangled and the plastic casing cracked, a physical example of the loyalty we lacked. I forced it into the player, but the audio was distorted. Every happy memory was violently aborted by the hiss and the crackle of a tape that has decayed, just like the fragile promises that we previously made. The telecommunication tower on the summit of the hill is struck by winter lightning while the atmosphere is chill. The grid is shutting down and the indicators flash red, a systematic failure of the narrative we led. I dial our telephone number, but the operator says the circuit is busy with the ghost of yesterdays. There is no data traveling across the fiber optic cable to fix the broken pieces of our metaphorical table. The reception is poor and the satellites are down. There is no communication traveling across this town. We are trying to connect through a rusted copper wire, but the voltage is insufficient to ignite the inner fire. We are trapped in static dreams, waking up to white noise, losing all the innocence of our youthful boys and joys. The channel is scrambled and the screen is getting gray, washing all the clarity of our old life away. Yeah, the signal is dead, just like the love we fed. And the power supply is blown. We are just two broadcasters speaking to the unknown. The screen is going growing dark, and the cathode tube explodes, ending all the journeys on our separate digital roads. The line is dead, nothing left ahead. The line is dead, nothing left ahead. Oh, we are trapped in static dreams, waking up to white noise, losing all the innocence of our youthful boys and joys. The channel is scrambled and the screen is getting gray, washing all the clarity of our old life away. Yeah, the signal is dead, just like the love we fit. Static noise, lost our voice, disconnect. We constructed a residence out of transparent sheets, overlooking the traffic of the municipal streets. We wanted the world to witness our architectural grace, believing we inhabited a flawless, immaculate space. There were no brick walls or curtains to hide the daily operations that occurred inside. But transparency is dangerous when you have secrets to keep, and structural integrity was incredibly cheap. You threw a heavy porcelain mug across the living room zone, and the impact shattered a structural silica code. A spider web fracture expanded across the front wall, a terrifying indicator of our impending total fall. We are living in an environment where you shouldn't throw stones, but we are launching projectiles that are fracturing bones. The illusion of perfection is beginning to crack, and there is no glazier who can put the pieces back. The foundation is splintering under the acoustic strain, and the roof is leaking from the heavy summer rain. We are exposed to the elements and the public gaze, trapped inside a greenhouse of our departed days. We are shattering our glass houses into tiny shards today, watching our privacy wash completely away. The transparency we worship is the weapon of our doom, creating a display case out of a domestic room. Yeah, the fragments are sharp, and they are cut in the heart. I see the neighbors gathering along the pavement perimeter line, watching the spectacular destruction of your world and mine. We are a public exhibition, a free entertainment show for the curious citizens who live in the valley below. They watch you pack your suitcase through the transparent floor, and they witness my desperation as I stand by the door. There is no dignity left in this architectural mistake, just a pile of silica that we managed to break. I sweep up the remnants with a plastic bristle broom, but the splinters are scattered throughout every single room. They embed themselves deeply in the soles of my feet, a physical punishment that is thoroughly complete. We wanted to be honest, we wanted to be clear, but the exposure generated a paralyzing fear. We should have built with timber or solid granite block instead of this material that cannot handle the shock. The foundation is splintering under the acoustic strain, and the roof is leaking from the heavy summer rain. We are exposed to the elements and the public gaze, trapped inside a greenhouse of our departed days. We are shattering our glass houses into tiny shards today, watching our privacy wash completely away. The transparency we worship is the weapon of our doom, creating a display case out of a domestic room. Yeah, the fragments are sharp, and they are cutting the heart. Obliterate the remaining pain. Let the environment collapse under the internal strain. We don't require protection if the honesty is dead. We don't require a shelter for the things we left unsaid. Let the shards tumble down like a crystalline shower, ending our residency at this final hour. Fragments are sharp, and they are cutting the heart. Silica dust, broken trust, clear, clear. An old album sits upon the dusty wooden shelf, a portrait of a boy who looks a bit like myself, beside a girl with the ribbons in her tangled golden hair, sitting on a blanket in the middle of the square. The colors have all shifted into shades of pale and gray, like chemical reactions washing memories away. I trace the silver outline of your unforgettable face, stuck inside a pocket of a long forgotten place. The Polaroid camera made a clicking sort of noise back when we were playing with our favorite childhood toys. We waited for the image to develop in the sun, counting all the seconds until everything was done. The chemical solution captured moments in a flash before our little kingdom came to crumble in a crash. Now look at how the edges are beginning to unglue, just like the connection that I shared along with you. The lens was cracked, but we could see the future pretty clear. We didn't know the definition of a sudden fear, but exposure to the sunlight makes the image disappear. Look at these faded photos hanging on the bedroom wall, reminding us of times before we learned how we could fall. The smiles are getting blurry and the background starts to bleed. We lost the very map that we so desperately need. Yeah, the pictures fade away, but the shadows always stay. I found another snapshot in the pocket of my coat, wrapped around a tiny and a handwritten short note. You said you would love me till the oceans all went dry, but oceans turned to deserts and the clouds deserted sky. The camera never lies, but it omits the painful part. It doesn't show the cracking of a heavy human heart. It only shows the laughter and the sunshine on the beach, while keeping all the misery far out of human reach. I try to remember what you said right before the click. The memory is playing like a cruel and wicked trick. The audio is missing, though the visual remains a gallery of pleasure that is shielding all the pains. The chemical emotion is decaying on the sheet while I am possessed a greater strength. The lens was cracked, but we could see the future pretty clear. We didn't know the definition of a sudden fear, but exposure to the sunlight makes the image disappear. Look at these faded photos hanging on the bedroom wall, reminding us of times before we learned how we could fall. The smiles are getting blurry and the background starts to bleed. We lost the very map that we so desperately need. Yeah, the pictures fade away, but the shadows always stay. Freeze the frame, hold your breath, don't you dare to move. We have so many arguments we tried so hard to prove, but a photograph is static, it can never change its mind, leaving all the explanations somewhere far behind. Shake the picture, wait for light, hope it turns out fine, but you cannot rewrite the script of your life and mine. Just a ghost in a frame. I barely know your name. Look at these faded photos hanging on the bedroom wall, reminding us of times before we learned how we could fall. The smiles are getting blurry and the background starts to bleed. We lost the very map that we so desperately need. Yeah, the pictures fade away, but the shadows always stay, fading out without a doubt. Click. The barometer dropped 10 points in less than an hour as a low-pressure system stripped the bloom from the flower. I left the house with a light linen shirt on my back, completely unaware of the atmospheric attack. You were smiling at breakfast while you poured out the tea, discussing the weekend and the places we'd see. But a phone call arrived at 9:15, and a tectonic shift split your future from mine. There was no gradual fading or a slow, soft decay, no warning signs pointing to a departure day, just a sudden disclosure that you couldn't undo, a brutal correction to the narrative I knew. The locks were all altered by the time I returned, and the bridge we inhabited was completely burned. I am standing on the pavement in the blistering wind, mourning the error that so abruptly had pinned, where the forecast didn't mention this scale, and our navigational instruments completely fail. We transition from summer to an Arctic freeze, and the time it takes a branch to snap from the trees. We are reeling from the sudden change in the atmosphere, trying to make sense of the chaos that is happening here. The scenery transformed in the blink of an eye, leaving us stranded underneath a foreign sky. Yeah, the whiplash is violent and the damage is done. I found your umbrella left behind in the hall, a solitary item leaning up against the wall. It was dry and compact, never seeing the storm that erupted inside where it used to be warm. I touched the curved handle, but the plastic is cold. progress of a decade or 10. The emergency sirens are echoing loud through the panic streets of the metropolitan crowd. They are clearing debris from the collapsed highway lane, a structural casualty of this sudden strain. I sit on a bench with my head in my hands, watching the ruin of our grandest plans. A permanent fracture in a flawless design that occurred without a signal or a warning sign. The weather forecast didn't mention this scale, and our navigational instruments completely fail. We transition from summer to an Arctic freeze in the time it takes a branch to snap from the trees. We are reeling from the sudden change in the atmosphere, trying to make sense of the chaos that is happening here. The scenery transformed in the blink of an eye, leaving us stranded underneath the foreign sky. Yeah, the whiplash is violent and the damage is done. But the orientation is completely erased, and the new reality cannot be faced. You cannot prepare for a bolt from the blue, and it splits you away from the person you knew. Snap, click, now it's different, gone. We are reeling from the sudden change in the atmosphere, trying to make sense of the chaos that is happening here. The scenery transformed in the blink of an eye, leaving us stranded underneath a foreign sky. Yeah, the whiplash is violent and the damage is done. Shifted ground, no more sound, a blaze. The hallway carpet dampens every footstep that I take. I listen for a sound to prove that I am still awake. The grandfather clock is ticking, but the pendulum is slow, a steady rhythmic pulse that watches hours come and go. Your winter coat is missing from the hook behind the door, and dust is settling softly on the hardwood parlor floor. I remember how your laughter used to bounce against the wall before the shadow of the winter came to change it all. I sit upon the mattress in the corner of space and try to reconstruct the faint expression on your face. The window pane is frosted with a delicate design, an icy barrier between your world and mine. There are no echoes traveling across the empty hall, just heavy drapes that smother every whisper, large or small. We used to talk until the morning sun began to rise, but now the stillness is a blanket covering our eyes. The furniture is covered up in sheets of ghostly white, a graveyard of conversations buried in the night. We spent our energy on building walls instead of bridges here, until the noise of loneliness was all that we could hear. Now we are living in these silent rooms, trapped inside our minds, searching for a trace of love that neither of us finds. The architecture of our youth is crumbling to stone. We share a roof, but technically we are completely alone. Yeah. The silence is a weapon that is cutting to the bone. I found a coffee mug you left upon the kitchen countertop, the dark stains at the bottom where the liquid had to stop. A physical reminder of a morning routine shared before we reached the point where neither person really cared. The refrigerator hums a low and melancholy tune beneath the silver glare of a July afternoon. I touch the handle gently, but I do not open wide. There's nothing left to nourish the starvation deep inside. The neighbors think we moved away because there is no light illuminating windows in the middle of the night. We sit in darkness saving on the electricity bill, as if a cheaper lifestyle could cure a mental ill. The floorboards do not creak because we walk so very light, like thieves inside a museum, escaping from the side. We perfected the behavior of a pair of quiet ghosts, destroying everything that we previously loved the most. The furniture is covered up in sheets of ghostly white, a graveyard of conversations buried in the night. We spent our energy on building walls instead of bridges here, until the noise of loneliness was all that we could hear. Now we are living in these silent rooms, trapped inside our minds, searching for a trace of love that neither of us finds. The architecture of our youth is crumbling to stone. We share a roof, but technically we are completely alone. Yeah, the silence is a weapon that is cutting to the bone. Crush us as we fall, but you just stare ahead into the middle of the air with the paralyzed expression of a thorough deep despair. Shh, listen close. It's the sound of nothing left. Now we are living in these silent rooms, trapped inside our minds, searching for a trace of love that neither of us finds. The architecture of our youth is crumbling to stone. We share a roof, but technically we are completely alone. Yeah, the silence is a weapon that is cutting to the bone. Just a silent room, a quiet tune, hush. I stood upon the pier, watching the cargo vessels depart, with a heavy nautical compass navigating my heart. You boarded a cruise ship that was headed for the west, to seek a destination where your spirit could find rest. The gap between the hull and the timber grew wide as the vessel was captured by the incoming tide. Your white handkerchief was a speck in the gray before the ocean mist took the vision away. Now I am writing letters that will take weeks to arrive to an overseas address where you are trying to thrive. You send me postcards of palm trees and tropical sand, a stark contrast to this cold and muddy northern land. The geography is vast and the time zones don't align. When it is midnight in your world, it is morning in mine. We are trying to maintain a thread across the sea, but the distance is eroding our common history. salt water is eating at the cables of our love, and the communication satellites are failing up above. We are two separate islands in an infinite blue, losing all the coordinates that connected me to you. We are standing on distant shores, looking out at the main, divided by an ocean of geography and pain. The horizon is a barrier that we cannot cross today, washing all the closeness of our previous life away. Yeah, the water is deep, and the promises are hard to keep. I check the maritime tracking application on my device to see your vessel navigating through the northern ice. You were thousands of nautical miles from this room, living in a climate where different flowers bloom. I wonder if the ocean air is altered your voice, or if your relocation was a permanent choice. I look at the map on my living room wall, realizing that my world is incredibly small. The lighthouse on the cliff throws a rotating beam, an artificial guide for a sailor's broken dream. But it cannot illuminate the space between our souls, or repair the damage of our conflicting goals. You are chasing a career in a metropolitan state, while I'm stuck here bargaining with provincial fate. The continental shelf is a physical divide that mirrors the alienation that we cultivate inside. The salt water is eating at the cables of our love, and the communication satellites are failing up above. We are two separate islands in an infinite blue, losing all the coordinates that connected me to you. We are standing on distant shores, looking out at the main, divided by an ocean of geography and pain. The horizon is a barrier that we cannot cross today, washing all the closeness of our previous life away. Yeah, the water is deep, and the promises are hard to keep. Swim across the channel, navigate the stormy strait, do something to challenge the maritime fate. But the current is too strong and the distance is too vast, and our physical endurance is failing us at last. So we stand on the beaches at opposite ends of the earth, mourning the relationship that gave us our worth. Lost at sea, you and me, drown. We are standing on distant shores, looking out at the main, divided by an ocean of geography and pain. The horizon is a barrier that we cannot cross today, washing all the closeness of our previous life away. The water is deep, and the promises are hard to keep. Tides roll, vessel afloat. Tides roll, vessel afloat. I tasted the dark marmalade you left upon the plate, a flavor profile that matches our contemporary state. A little bit of sugary sweetness at the very start, followed by an astringent bite that punctures the heart. We cultivated a recipe that was complex and refined, blending the ingredients that our personalities aligned. But the ratio was faulty and the mixture turned sour, leaving an unpleasant aftertaste at this final hour. I remember the honeymoon phase in the orchard by the farm, when every single syllable possessed a therapeutic charm. We pick fresh strawberries from the bushes in the field, savoring the bounty that the fertile soil would yield. But the seasons rotated and the frost came too soon, blackening the vegetation under an October moon. Now the fruit is fermenting in the wooden storage bin, a toxic transformation that is occurring from within. The culinary experts cannot fix this broken stew, and there is no condiment that can make the flavor new. We are consuming the remnants of a beautiful mistake, numbing our palates for our mental sanity's sake. We are swallowing this bittersweet memory tonight, trying to convince ourselves that everything is right. A confusing combination that is driving us insane. Yeah, the medicine is harsh, but the sickness was deep. I found a dark chocolate bar in the pocket of your vest, a confectionery treat that you had previously suppressed. I broke off a square and let it dissolve on my tongue, recalling the melodies that we previously sung. It was 80% cacao, intense and severe, an accurate reflection of the atmosphere. Here we don't do simple sugar or cheap artificial treats, we prefer the complexity of these emotional defeats. The coffee machine is dripping in the pantry alcove now as I prepare a beverage to make my final bow. I don't add any cream or the white granulated crystals. We are treating our farewell like the firing of pistols, just a black boiling liquid that is scorching to the throat, a fitting accompaniment to the final note I wrote. We drink to our history and the damage we sustained, savoring the agony that permanently remained. The culinary experts cannot fix this broken stew, and there is no condiment that can make the flavor new. We are consuming the remnants of a beautiful mistake, numbing our palates for our mental sanity's sake. We are swallowing this bittersweet memory tonight, trying to convince ourselves that everything is right. The contrast is brutal and the pleasure brings us pain, a confusing combination that is driving us insane. Yeah, the medicine is harsh, but the sickness was deep. Spit it out, clear the mouth, rinse the tongue clean, erase the flavor profiles that have come between. But the receptors are stained and the memory persists, a permanent item on our emotional lists. You cannot separate the sugar from the gold when you choose to consume it all. Tonic, syrup, pour it out. The end, we are swallowing this bittersweet memory tonight, trying to convince ourselves that everything is right. The contrast is brutal and the pleasure brings us pain, a confusing combination that is driving us insane. Yeah, the medicine is harsh, but the sickness was deep. Sharp tang, door bang, acrid. Mm. The thermometer plummeted below the 0 mark when we were walking slowly through the residential park. We zipped our heavy parkas up against the northern breeze, watching our breath crystallize above the frozen trees. The wool was a barrier that kept the warmth inside, but also served to complicate the feelings we would hide. We looked like two astronauts exploring outer space, insulated completely from each other's embrace. You wore a thick scarf that covered up your chin, preventing any syllables from escaping within. The buttons were massive and the fabric was so dense, a textile variation of a defensive picket fence. We held hands through our mittens, but we couldn't feel the skin. An artificial contact where no passion could begin. The winter was an excuse to keep our distance justified, while the true emotional frostbite was happening inside. The blizzard is howling and the icicles are pet, a frozen termination to a relationship we can't defend. We are wrapped in layers of defensive insulation here, too terrified of vulnerability to let each other near. We are hiding in our winter coats, shivering in the snow, waiting for a springtime that we will never know. Yeah, the garments protect us, but they keep us apart. I see a heavy overcoat hanging in the hall, a dark silhouette against the wall-papered wall. The pockets are filled with lint and ticket stubs from plays we attended together during our warmer days. I touch the collar gently, but the texture makes me shudder, a woolen reminder of the words we didn't utter. We thought that the protection would endure until July, but summer never happens when the spirits choose to die. The radiator clanks inside the living room tonight, but it cannot alleviate the chill within our sight. We sit across the table with our heavy sweaters on, a pair of Arctic explorers whose compasses are gone. The frost is accumulating on the inside of the pain, a meteorological metaphor of our internal pain. If we took off the garments, we might perish from the cold, so we keep ourselves encased in the fibers of old. The blizzard is howling and the icicles are pet, a frozen termination to our relationship we can't defend. We are wrapped in layers of defensive insulation here, too terrified of vulnerability to let each other near. We are hiding in our winter coats, shivering in the snow, waiting for a springtime that we will never know. The padding is thick, but our hearts are freezing cold, trapped inside the stories that we never fully told. Yeah, the garments protect us, but they keep us apart. Unzip the jacket, cast the scarf into the drift, do something to accelerate the continental shift. But your fingers are too numb to manipulate the clasp, and my hands are shaking far beyond my normal grasp. So we stay encapsulated in our custom as cocoons underneath the glare of freezing winter moons, so cold, too deep. Go to sleep. We are hiding in our winter coats, shivering in the snow, waiting for a springtime that we will never know. The padding is thick, but our hearts are freezing cold, trapped inside the stories that we never fully told. Yeah, the garments protect us, but they keep us apart. Heavy wood, empty soul, freeze. I shouted out your name into the canyon deep and wide, hoping for an answer from the solitary side. But the landscape was indifferent to the misery I felt, and the frosty mountain ridges refused to ever melt. The sound of my own voice came bouncing back into my ear, a mockery of passion that was twisted by my fear. You left without a warning on a Tuesday afternoon, leaving a vacant apartment that was cleared out way too soon. The tiles in the bathroom multiply the dripping faucet sound, the water repercussion while I stare upon the ground. Every statement that we made inside this residential space is bouncing off the plaster without leaving any trace. We used to fill the structure with our arguments and cheers, but the frequency is altered over consecutive years. Now the vibration is a hollow and a terrifying thing, like a broken copper bell that has forgotten how to ring. We build a sanctuary out of promises and stone, but the structural integrity has left us both alone. The cavities are wide and the foundations are insecure, and there is no remedy that can make this love endure. We are chasing hollow echoes in an empty corridor, listening for the footsteps that don't walk it anymore. The words have lost their substance, but the noises staying loud. A ghostly congregation like a solitary crowd. Yeah, the resonance remains, reminding us of pains. I walked into the valley where we carved our monogram before the river flooded and destroyed the wooden dam. The gorge is full of boulders that have tumbled from the peak, crushing all the flowers that were delicate and weak. I spoke into the cavern just to test the acoustic grace, but the replication process was an absolute disgrace. It distorted all the meaning of the phrases that I chose, turning a confession into a parade of woes. The telephone is silent, but the static is alive, a technological reminder that our bond did not survive. I listened to old voicemails that you recorded on your device when your tone was full of honey before it turned to ice. The digital compression makes your laughter sound so strange, a robotic variation that emphasizes the change. I disconnect the line because the feedback is too intense, an auditory punishment that defies all common sense. Build a sanctuary out of promises and stone, but the structural integrity has left us both alone. The cavities are wide and the foundations are insecure, and there is no remedy that can make this love endure. noises, staying loud, a ghostly congregation like a solitary crowd. Yeah, the resonance remains, reminding us of pain. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Screaming louder, let it bounce against the granite wall. Watch the sonic wave expand before it starts to fall. You cannot fill a vacuum with a fabricated shout. You cannot light a fire when the oxygen is out. The acoustic properties of this relationship are dead, and I am drowning in the feedback of the things you said. Hello? Is anyone there? No. We are chasing hollow echoes in an empty corridor, listening for the footsteps that don't walk here anymore. The words have lost their substance, but the noises staying loud, a ghostly congregation like a solitary crowd. Yeah, the resonance remains, reminding us of pain. Echoes fade, debts unpaid. Silence. The station platform flashes underneath the neon sign. A dozen sleepy passengers are standing in a line. I bought a one-way ticket to a city in the north to flee the situation that was going back and forth. The steam is rising slowly from the belly of the beast. This midnight cold is blowing from the valleys of the east. I look across my shoulder at the city lights behind, with 100 contradictions rolling heavy through my mind. You were sleeping on the mattress when I packed my leather case. I didn't leave a message in that suffocating place. The engine gave a whistle like a signal of distress. A metal roar to pull me from this complicated mess. The conductor waves a lantern and the iron wheels rotate, a heavy movement forcing us to compromise with fate. The scenery is vanishing into a sea of black, and there is no mechanic who can put us on the track. The diesel smoke is filling up the chambers of my chest, a traveling companion on the solitary quest. We accelerated quickly, but we headed for a crash. Now our beautiful connection is a pile of burned ash. We are riding on the midnight trains, leaving ghosts behind, trying to escape the thoughts that paralyze the mind. The tracks go on forever through the darkness and the rain, but motion doesn't mitigate the presence of the pain. No fast locomotive cannot outrun the regret. I watch my own reflection in the dirty window pane, juxtaposed against the drops of heavy summer rain. The passengers around me are all staring at their phone, a congregation of the lost who prefer to be alone. The rhythm of the metal rails is hypnotic to the ear, a steady beat that drummed away my reservation fear. I wonder if you woke up yet and noticed I was gone, or if you'll only realize when you see the morning dawn. The conductor checks my ticket with a sympathetic glance. He knows that people on this coach are running from romance. We are a collection of the broken and the bruised, who chose to be abandoned rather than to be abused. The next stop is a junction where the tracks begin to split, a geographical expression of the way that we just quit. I could switch to another line and head back to your arms, but my intuition warns me of the volatile alarms. The diesel smoke is filling up the chambers of my chest, a traveling companion on the solitary quest. We accelerated quickly, but we headed for a crash. Now our beautiful connection is a pile of burned ash. We are riding on the midnight emergency brake, but it's too late to stall. The locomotive is moving, and it's gonna take it all. Chug, chug, chug. The engine sighs as the city dies. We are riding on the midnight trains, leaving ghosts behind, trying to escape the thoughts that paralyze the mind. The tracks go on forever through the darkness and the rain, but motion doesn't mitigate the presence of the pain. No, a fast locomotive cannot outrun the regret. Midnight train, wash the pain, God. The thermometer plummeted below the 0 mark when we were walking slowly through the residential park. We zipped our heavy parkas up against the northern breeze, watching our breath crystallize above the frozen trees. The wool was a barrier that kept the warmth inside, but also served to complicate the feelings we would hide. We looked like two astronauts exploring outer space, insulated completely from each other's embrace. You wore a thick scarf that covered up your chin, preventing any syllables from escaping within. The buttons were massive and the fabric was so dense, a textile variation of a defensive picket fence. We held hands through our mittens, but we couldn't feel the skin. An artificial contact where no passion could begin. The winter was an excuse to keep our distance justified, while the true emotional frostbite was happening inside. The blizzard is howling and the icicles are pinned, a frozen termination to a relationship we can't defend. We are wrapped in layers of defensive insulation here, too terrified of vulnerability to let each other near. Oh, we are hiding in our winter coats, shivering in the snow, waiting for a springtime that we will never know. The padding is thick, but our hearts are freezing cold, trapped inside the stories that we never fully told. Yeah, the garments protect us, but they keep us apart. I see a heavy overcoat hanging in the hall, a dark silhouette against the wallpapered wall. The pockets are filled with lint and ticket stubs from plays we attended together during our warmer days. I touch the collar gently, but the texture makes me shudder, a woolen reminder of the words we didn't utter. We thought that the protection would endure until July, but summer never happens when the spirits choose to die. The radiator clanks inside the living room tonight, but it cannot alleviate the chill within our sight. We sit across the table with our heavy sweaters on, a pair of Arctic explorers whose compass is all gone. The frost is accumulating on the inside of the pain, a meteorological metaphor of our internal pain. If we took off the garments, we might perish from the cold, so we keep ourselves encased in the fibers of old. The blizzard is howling and the icicles are penned, a frozen termination to a relationship we can't defend. We are wrapped in layers of defensive insulation here, too terrified of vulnerability, to let each other near. We are hiding in our winter coats, shivering in the snow, waiting for a springtime that we will never know. The padding is thick, but our hearts are freezing cold. Trapped inside the stories that we never fully told. Yeah, the garments protect us, but they keep us apart. To accelerate the continental shift, but your fingers are too numb to manipulate the clasp, and my hands are shaking far beyond my normal grasp. So we stay encapsulated in our customized cocoons, underneath the glare of freezing winter moons. So cold, too deep, go to sleep. We are hiding in our winter coats, shivering in the snow, waiting for a springtime that we will never know. The padding is thick, but our hearts are freezing cold. Trapped inside the stories that we never fully told. Yeah, the garments protect us, but they keep us apart. Heavy wool, empty soul, freeze. I found a notebook in the attic space yesterday afternoon, buried under blankets from a distant, faded June. The pages were yellow and the edges torn apart, filled with scribbled drawings of a fragile human heart. You used to fold the corners down to mark the things you said before the heavy clouds of doubt collected in your head. We were young and foolish, chasing shadows in the lawn, never thinking for a second that the daylight would be gone. You took a sheet of lined paper and made a little wing, hoping that a simple piece of wood could learn to sing. We stood upon the rooftop where the wind was blowing high, ready to release our tiny glider to the sky. It drifted for a moment, then it tumbled to the ground, into the muddy puddle without making any sound. You looked at me with teary eyes and said it was a sign that everything we ever built would fall apart in time. And now the wind is howling through the rafters of this house. The silence is so loud, it seems to terrify a mouse. We try to hold the memories before they turn to dust, but every silver lining is beginning now to rust. Oh, we were flying paper planes into the stormy night, hoping they would catch a breeze and somehow take a flight. But paper cannot handle when the rain begins to pour, and we don't write those stories on the pages anymore. No, we don't write those stories on the pages anymore. I kept that little glider in a shoebox by my bed, a reminder of the heavy words that we had left unsaid. The ink began to smudge until the letters disappeared, just like the happy future future that we desperately feared. I see you in the supermarket walking down the aisle. You look away so quickly, but I notice that you smile. A stranger with a history that matches up with mine. Two parallel trajectories that never will align. The neighborhood is changing and they tore the rooftop down. Well, we believed that we could be the rulers of this town. The concrete replaces all the grass where we once read, and time destroys the blueprints of our very finest plan. I wonder if you ever think about that windy day, or if you threw the notebook and the memories away. The gravity is pulling every dreamer to the floor, and we don't play those silly childish games here anymore. And now the wind is howling through the rafters of this house. The silence is so loud it seems to terrify a mouse. We try to hold the memories before they turn to dust, but every silver lining is beginning now to rust. Oh, we were flying paper planes into the stormy night, hoping they would catch a breeze and somehow take a flight. But paper cannot handle when the rain begins to pour, and we don't write those stories on the pages anymore. No, we don't write those stories on the pages anymore. Throw it to the breeze, watch it catch a sudden draft, entangled in the trees. We thought that we were pilots, but we didn't have a map. We fell into the middle of a beautiful dark track. And you can try to fix the wings with tape and piece of thread, but you can never resurrect the words that we have said. It falls down. The paper always falls down. In the end, it's just a piece of paper on the ground. Oh, we were flying paper planes into the stormy night, hoping they would catch a breeze and somehow take a flight. But paper cannot handle when the rain begins to pour, and we don't write those stories on the pages anymore. No, we don't write those stories on the pages anymore. Just a paper plane in the pouring rain. We constructed a residence out of transparent sheets, overlooking the traffic of the municipal streets. We wanted the world to witness our architectural grace, believing we inhabited a flawless, immaculate space. There were no brick walls or curtains to hide the daily operations that occurred inside. But transparency is dangerous when you have secrets to keep, and the structural integrity was incredibly cheap. You threw a heavy porcelain mug across the living room zone, and the impact shattered a structural silica cone. A spiderweb fracture expanded across the front wall, a terrifying indicator of our impending total fall. We are living in an environment where you shouldn't throw stones, but we are launching projectiles that are fracturing bones. The illusion of perfection is beginning to crack, and there is no glazier who can put the pieces back. The foundation is splintering under under the acoustic strain. The roof is leaking from the heavy summer rain. We are exposed to the elements and the public gaze, trapped inside a greenhouse of our departed days. We are shattering our glass houses into tiny shards today, watching our privacy wash completely away. Transparency we worship is the weapon of our doom, creating a display case out of a domestic room. Yeah, the fragments are sharp and they are cutting the heart. I see the neighbors gathering along the pavement perimeter line, watching the spectacular destruction of your world and mine. We are a public exhibition, a free entertainment show for the curious citizens who live in the valley below. Oh, they watch you pack your suitcase through the transparent floor, and they witness my desperation as I stand by the door. There is no dignity left in this architectural mistake, just a pile of silica that we managed to break. I sweep up the remnants with a plastic bristle broom, but the splinters are scattered throughout every single room. They embed themselves deeply in the soles of my feet, a physical punishment that is thoroughly complete. We want it to be honest, we want it to be clear, but the exposure generated a paralyzing fear. We should have built with timber or solid granite block instead of this material that cannot handle a shock. The foundation is splintering under the acoustic strain, and the roof is leaking from the heavy summer rain. We are exposed to the elements and the public gaze, trapped inside a greenhouse of our departed days. We are shattering our glass houses into tiny shards today, watching our privacy wash completely away. The transparency we worship is the weapon of our doom, creating a display case out of a domestic room. Yeah, the fragments are sharp and they are cutting the heart. Smash the ceiling, obliterate the remaining pain, let the environment collapse under the internal strain. We don't require protection if the honesty's dead. We don't require a shelter for the things we left unsaid. Let the shards tumble down like a crystalline shower, ending our residency at this final hour. Crack, snap, watch it fall. Nothing. We are shattering our glass houses into tiny shards today, watching our privacy wash completely away. The transparency we worship is the weapon of our doom, creating a display case out of a domestic room. Yeah, the fragments are sharp and they are cutting the heart. Silica dust, broken trust. Silica dust, broken trust. Silica dust, silica dust, broken trust. Clear.